All right, guys, so today we're going to continue along with memory. Everyone should have their focus, their study guide, and their notes from yesterday on their desk. You're not going to add to your notes. However, you're going to need to reference them. You should have a whiteboard on your desk. Even if you're watching this in 7th period, you should be playing along with us. Okay, you should be checking your answers as we go. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what am I describing? Please tell me, what is the first stage of memory? What is the first stage of memory? Let's go. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you're 7th period, you don't have to show me because I'm not here, but you can just write the answers down. I'm trying to make them feel loved and that I care about them. Mia, what is it?
Sensory.
Sensory. On your whiteboard, what moves things from sensory memory into our short-term memory? What moves things from sensory to short-term? Good. Eva. Attention. Once you're in short-term memory, how many items can stay here? Good. Macy. Plus or minus 7. On your whiteboard, please tell me, when you're sitting there memorizing your vocab terms and they're going on in your head and you're saying, all right, don't forget. What is happening to you? What are you currently doing? Good. What are we doing, Tyrese? Rehearsing. Maintenance rehearsal. When you do maintenance rehearsal, it's doing what to that memory? When you do maintenance rehearsal, it's doing what to that memory? Good. Come on. What's it doing, Valeria? Encoding. Using our analogy of a library. When you go to a bookshelf using the Dewey Decimal System and pluck the bookshelf off the shelf, what are you doing? Good. Come on. Good. What is it, Bella? Retrieval. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is it called when Mr. Penn gets a new book and he puts the Dewey Decimal on the binding of the book? What is it called? What is it called when he puts the Dewey Decimal System? We got some disparities here. James, what is it?
Encoding.
It's encoding. Encoding means you can retrieve the book, or you can retrieve it in the long term after you store it, guys. Okay? If you don't encode it, you won't be able to retrieve it. Like, for instance, think of all those things your teachers have taught you in class over the 11, 12 years you've been in school. How much information have you heard, you kind of processed, and now you cannot remember it all? A lot or a little? A lot. That is an encoding failure. Okay? That is because you didn't put enough maintenance rehearsal into learning it, which means when you remembered it, you didn't know where you put it. So you can't get it. How many times do you think about something? You're like, oh my God, I know her name, or I know his name. Oh my God, I know it's like right there. Who's ever had that experience? Happens to me all the time. I'm terrible with names. Okay? That is called a retrieval error. When you know it, but you can't just get it out, that's a retrieval error, which means your encoding was correct, but you didn't maintenance rehearse it enough. Do we see the difference? Okay? Encoding is what puts the memory on the shelf. And good encoding means you can plug it off the shelf and get it when you need it. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is it called when Mr. Penn walks to the appropriate place, according to the Dewey Decimal System, and puts the book on the shelf and leaves it there, so when I want the book, I can go get the book? What is it, Matt? Storage. On your whiteboard, please tell me when you hear my voice, you have a what type of memory? I know, it's a little sharp, okay? Or flat, or both, or awful is actually how that goes. Annie? Echoic. On your whiteboard, please tell me, I know that spiders have 6 legs, not 8 legs. I was convinced for quite. Do they have 8 or 6?
8.
Damn it. I know that spiders have 8 legs. Why do I think they have 3? I don't know. That's an encoding error. You know what I mean? That's an encoding error. So I know. I don't know my spiders that well, but I should. What type of memory is that, Skylar? Semantic. I do know that capital of Vermont is Montpelier. What type of memory is that? I just wanted you to know that I did know some facts. What is it? You could say what, Smith?
Semantic.
Or you could say what, Annie? Explicit. On your whiteboard, please tell me. I remember that I had this amazing sweatshirt that had little ears at the top of it, and it had a cute little sewn in tummy patch, and that his little arms, you had little muffs that came over it, and you could look like a little thing, and it was my favorite. It was my brother's, then it was mine, and then I killed it because I wore it so much. What is it, Sophia? Episodic. On your whiteboard, there are two, please tell me, what is it called when I know how to tie my shoe and I don't have to sing the song? I don't have to sing the song. And the bunnies jump over, the bunnies go under, the bunnies make one big loop. The bunny jumps one loop, goes around the other, and through the hole it goes. Your parents taught you a stupid song when you were learning to tie their shoes.
No, my parents didn't teach us how to use the way.
Yeah, they just taught me.
Bella, what is it?
My parents didn't teach me to tie my shoes until like 2 years ago.
Think about it. If you learned a song, you would have done it better.
I just got it singing.
I still think I
All right, on your whiteboard, what is it called if I'm trying to remember something and I go, and it takes me a little bit? There's two names for it. If I'm trying to recall a long-term memory and it takes me a second to get it, there's two names for it. What are those two names? When I have to think about something, you ask me a question, it happens to me all the time, and I'm like, what? What is that an example of? Good, I have a couple. Good, Nick. Declarative or explicit. On your whiteboard, I don't have to think about brushing my teeth. There are two names for it. What are they? Two names for it. No, and it's not procedural. Just kidding. Yeah, it is. It totally is. Totally is. What is it, Mickey?
procedural or implicit.
There you go. And one more before we get going here. On your whiteboard, please tell me you can see me. For 1 second. Good thing they won't see that. I don't know if I can look both or straight in the face. What is it? James, you're killing it, by the way, today. Iconic. All right, here we go. So today we're going to pick up a little bit further. Today we're actually going to use all this basic information, and we're going to start compiling some actual theories of memory, which are pretty exciting. So everyone should take out your study guide and your focus. That's what we're transitioning to. So we've talked about long-term memory. We know that long-term memory is broke up into declarative and non-declarative, implicit, explicit, and all that stuff. When we talk about long-term memory, these are memories that we have to recall or retrieve for. Now, when we are learning long-term memories, a lot of us use elaborative rehearsal. It's a method of transferring information from short-term memory into long-term memory by making that information meaningful in some way. Underneath elaborative rehearsal, I would write add more information. So, for instance, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. What a courageous thing to do, but someone was already there. He knew it's the Cherokee, the Austin, and the Army, all the Walla, and the coup. And it goes on. You've never heard these songs?
I knew the first line, but I didn't know there was any more.
Yeah. Oh my God! It talks about all the major Native Americans that are along the coastline of Eastern America. Anyway, okay, I used that song to learn in 1492.
Columbus.
There you go. See, that's elaborative rehearsal. All I really needed to know was. Or 1492, Columbus sailed, all that stuff. But now I know all this other stuff, and because it has a little beat to it, I remember it better. What is something else that we've done? We've added a lot more information so we can learn one specific thing. What else have we done? Tyrese? There's a lot of things. We do it for a lot of things.
Like the element thing, we had to remember everything about that.
Kind of, but did you make it into a song or something?
Oh, nah.
Okay, then no, it's not. That's just called a long list of memorizing.
Yeah.
Nikki.
Never mind.
Okay, an
Oh,
example.
that's a good example.
What is it?
X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
Quadratic formula.
You've never heard that?
And also,
I
like,
have to
all we do is talk about math when you're
There is a Dynasty song for my AP World kids. I don't know it because I refuse to. It's awful. But they can learn all the dynasties in order. I teach it in order, and I like reiterate it in order, so they're pretty good about it. So I don't teach them the song. That's so annoying because I just emotionally can't deal with it. But that would be in a way. Anytime you add a song to it or you know it by a song, there's like, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally.
Yeah, but that's not a song.
Yeah, I know, but you're adding so much
PEMDAS.
more information to remember.
PEMDAS. There's a D in it.
No, he's British, so move on. Okay?
You're just totally skipping over.
You have no idea how many times
3, 2, 1. I'm recording this. Okay? Anytime you add more information in order to learn one basic component is elaborative. We do this sometimes when we're trying to make things a little bit more meaningful and stuff like that. We try to elaborate. All right. So I'm going to kind of flip through this stuff because we went through it really well yesterday, yes? Okay, it's just showing the skills, connections, and stuff. Okay, anterograde amnesia. You're going to have to write this down. You're going to need it. Okay, no, you're fine. I was hoping you found what I needed, and that way I can. Okay, anterograde amnesia. You're going to need it for your test. Anterograde amnesia is a loss of memory from the point of injury or trauma forward, or the inability to form a long-term memory. Okay, it usually does not affect procedural long-term memory. Okay, anterograde amnesia is, say for instance, I had a car accident today. I would be able to remember all of your names. I would be able to remember everything I taught you to this point. However, going forward, I would not be able to remember my next year's students' names that well. I would not be able to meet people and remember their name. When we talk about anterograde amnesia, you're not able to add more information to your long-term memory. It stops. A terrible example, but one you can relate to, is 51st Dates. Now, 51st Dates.
What is it?
It's the best movie ever.
I can't even help you people. Like,
I know what it is.
That's it. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so in 51st Dates, which is incredibly a dramatic version of the anterograde amnesia. He falls in love with Drew Barrymore, who got into her car accident. Every single day she thinks it's her dad's birthday. So she goes to the same restaurant and he orders the same thing. And then her parents and her dad and her brother lie to her about how the day is going. And then the next day she falls asleep, she wakes up, and it's the same day again. Complete dramatic. No one resets every 24 hours. Okay? If you were going to make 51st Dates correctly, she would have had the car accident thinking it was her dad's birthday. She would remember everything prior to the car accident absolutely perfectly. She would remember everything. The day she met Adam Sandler's character, okay, she would not be able to retain those memories. Okay? The longer he stays around, the more likely she'd be able to really remember those details. But she wouldn't be able to remember the first date, the second date, the third date in a very clear fashion like she does to the memories before. Does that make sense? It's not like she would forget them every single day. It's just that every single day she would kind of be like, yeah, you're around a lot. But she can't able to make new memories and stuff like that. Yes.
Would you be able to remember the fact that you have the amnesia?
No. Like
He
you
would
get in
make
car accidents.
movies for her, so she would watch it when she woke up, so that she would like remember.
Yeah,
that's
how it
is.
It's a cute movie.
Video.
Okay, that, because it doesn't reset every day, guys. So if that movie was real, instead of her dad and her brother recreating the movie, recreating the birthday every single day, they would just be like, yeah, you got into a car accident. It's no longer. Here we go. what am I doing? Why isn't it your birthday? You know, like every single day would just be like, I'm not really retaining information. Every single day you learn something. Can we agree? Okay? It would just mean all the details and all the things you're not able to store. You're experiencing things, you're enjoying things, you're doing things, but you're not going to be able to recall them 2 weeks later and say, oh yeah, by the way, I went and had ice cream with, me and Mia had ice cream, and then I went golfing with Mary Kate. You seem like a golfer, Mary Kate. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so doing those types of things would be hard to do. Does that make sense? Hello? 51st dates, parentheses, good example, not accurate. But she can't remember anything from the accident on, yes? Alright, so worst case, remember that. Alright, so declarative, semantic, episodic. Okay, those are all of your explicit. I'm going through this because we went through it really well. I'm going to do that tomorrow. Okay, so cues to help remember. This is not on there. I would write it down. It would be helpful. So a retrieval cue is something that people can do to help you remember. I do these all the time. For instance, if I ask you, what are the names of my cats? And you're like, oh my God, she's mentioned them before. And I say, you can go there and get terrible coffee. Dunkin' and Donut. There you go. Yeah, I'm a Starbucks elitist, okay? No surprise there, okay? I see you. All right, so retrieval cue is a hint about something. We use them all the time. Hopefully your teachers do that to you, yes? They try to, give you a bone and try to help you out a little bit, no? Or do they just stare at you and wait?
Yeah, pretty much.
Seriously? No, we're not dropping names. But your teacher should be helping you with retrieval cues. Have you noticed that I always try to give you a little hint?
Yes.
A little bit. I mean, some things if I'm just went over and you don't know, I'm going to kind of stare you down a little bit. But usually I'm typically trying to help you. That's a retrieval cue. It's very successful in retrieving memories. Yes. Annie, do you have a question? You're just doing you? Okay. All right, so encoding specificity. Thank you, Madison. Okay? It's the tendency for memory of information to be improved if related information such as surrounding or physiological state available when the memory is first formed is also available when the memory is being retrieved. Okay? Let me simplify. I would write this down. With encoding specificity, okay, have you noticed it's easier to focus on AP Psych when you're sitting in my room? Yeah, have you noticed it's kind of hard learning a subject or going over a subject in another room? It just feels weird. And it kind of slows you down. You're not able to think about it, okay? That's encoding specificity. Have you ever noticed that when you're with your friends, you can retrieve memories faster than when you're sitting with your parents? And your parents are like, well, what did you do today? And you're like, I don't know, hung out. And when your friend's like, oh my God, this is what I did today, and all that stuff. Yes, there's a little bit of code talk change, but encoding specificity means that you're able to pull out information better. So when you're sitting in your math class, you can focus on math better, correct? Yeah. When you're sitting in psych, you can focus on psych better. When you go to English, you're focused better on English, yes? Okay? No? No? All right. All right. State-dependent learning is a physiological state to recall a similar state. Okay, so when you're happy, have you ever noticed when you're happy, it's easier to remember other times when you're happy? And when you're sad, it's really, 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 really easy to remember times that you're sad. Like today I was sad. Today we put Toby in a boarder. We boarded him for the night because we're just going to Miami for tonight. And we boarded him. And it was so sad. Both McCray and myself did not want to board him because it was so sad. Because he didn't really like it when we brought him in the other day. It's when you bring it's like a dog hotel. But my man is like super spoiled. And I don't know if they're going to love him. They're not going to love him as much as I love him. And so it was really sad. So we literally played rock, paper, scissors, shoot. I won, so I did not have to drop him off. Okay? So this morning when we were bumping around and getting him ready to go to the border, because he drove to Miami this morning, his state-dependent learning, we were both thinking about like all the sad times we've had with Toby. Like, oh no, Toby was so sad. Like yesterday at the dog park, he did not have a good day. one of the big dogs ran over. Really funny for us, not funny for him. But since we were sad this morning, we could remember the sad memories better. When we pick him up tomorrow, when I pick him up tomorrow afternoon, I'll remember all my happy memories because I'll have Toby back. Don't worry, I've been watching him on this little camera.
What dog food do you go Chinese food?
Put a camera in
The one
his
over
thing.
back. No, it's at the border. At the border, they have a little camera. Yeah, the kennels.
Yeah, the kennel that
I'll watch your
it's like a dog hotel.
He's already there. He's already there.
Don't put him, they kill them.
They do not. Stop it. How is this helpful to me? Do you think my crazy is good?
Kill
Stop
him.
it. Stop it.
They killed
What is wrong with you people? No. We are going to think of happy thoughts. State-dependent memory is going to stay positive.
What dog food?
That was super easy.
Get out of here.
Your picture. Here we go. Recall is your next thing. Now, recall is being able to pull out information. Is it on here?
No.
Recall is a type of memory retrieval in which the information to be retrieved must be pulled from memory within a few external cues. Sophia, what were you wearing yesterday? Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted you to do. Okay. Okay. External cues. She heard clothing. She heard yesterday, and she went. That was literally the recall. Trying to pull it out. Where were you wearing yesterday? You remember?
Yeah, black jeans and a sweater.
Nice. Okay. That is. What was your best birthday, Mia? Perfect. Recall. There you go. What was your favorite toy growing up, Chris?
Probably my
Didn't do that one, but that's okay. But see, there's a pause now. I hear you. What was it?
like stuffing.
Stuffed animal. I had a heart-to-heart bear. It was a little teddy bear. That when it was little, it had a little heart that if you pushed on it, it had a little heartbeat. But my brother took it out of the doll and threw it against the wall.
Ooh, too. That's really creepy.
It is really creepy. It was it was really sweet. I got it from my grandfather. It was really sweet. Anyway, so recall is that whole process of pulling memory out. Okay, a retrieval failure, and this is a big thing, and you need to make sure you have it. A retrieval failure is recall has failed, at least temporarily. Okay? So, if I ask you, who is the 4th president of the United States?
John.
No.
Jefferson.
4th president.
George Washington.
George Washington was the first president.
I know. I was going through.
We have failed you. We have failed you. We have failed you.
I ever learned this.
I told you it was Adam. That's the first thing I said.
5,
Barack Obama?
4,
Did I not say John Adams?
3, 2, 1. Okay, here we go. Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison.
I know this.
I'm pretty sure.
I did a project on this and I know it.
I know the 7.
Oh my God. Hello. Thank you. Okay. Retrieval is what I hope some of that was. I am actually don't think it was a retrieval error because you people just started blurting stuff. Blurting stuff is not a retrieval error. That's an encoding error, or you are just making things up. Okay. Every time you go, what is it? That's why I asked the 4th president because you should have known. You should have known. You're juniors or seniors at least.
Why should I have known?
The kids in A
Welcome to
push.
America, man.
The kids in A push now should know it.
3,
Yeah.
2, 1. Okay. Without blurting it out. Okay? You're going to raise your hand immediately as soon as you know it.
I was getting shaky.
Raise your hand the moment you know it. Ready? My first name.
Oh, God.
That was too easy. That was a little bit of a retrieval failure. There we go. It was a little slow and going up. Okay, my first name's Samantha. Sam is what my friends call me. Okay, so retrieval means that you aren't All right, same thing. If I ask you, as soon as you know it, put your hand up. If you don't know it, if you're struggling, it's okay. I want you to struggle because, damn it, I want to show retrieval failure, please. What is the name of the gorilla that got killed? Everyone cares. Yes!
Oh.
I got a couple people. Yes! Yes! What is it, Brittany? Harambe. If you're like, oh my God, I know it.
I didn't hear the question.
Nobody
3,
should
2,
No, I read.
1. Okay? If you cannot come up with an answer quickly, like, oh my God, I should know this, and you're like, oh, I know, and I can't come up with it, that is retrieval failure. When you have that, oh, I know this, and I can't get it, that's a retrieval. If you're like, I have no idea, that's an encoding. If you should know something, but you are like, I've never heard that before in my life. Okay, like for instance, you didn't know that Madison is your 4th president. That is an encoding failure on an epic scale. All right. So when we talk about recall failure, we talk about retrieval. It's called tip of tongue. When you can come up with someone's name, you know someone, and you're like, ah, damn it. Like for instance, I saw her name today. Honestly, I have tip of tongue phenomenon with Miss Smith. I know her first name's Anna, but I have never called this wonderful creature here Anna. So if someone came out to me and is like, hey, you know Anna in your 6th period? And I'm going to be like, no. No, like Anna. She sits in your front row. I'm like, no. Anna Smith? I'm like, oh my God, yeah, that's my girl. She sits right here. Yeah, tip of tongue. If you ask me what her name was, sometimes I'll have a tip of tongue and won't be able to come up with the word Anna because I call her Smith, correct? She's on my wall as Miss Smith. All of that. That is a tip of tongue phenomenon. When I see people, like if you're walking around the store and you see a kid that you should know their name, and you're like, what's their name? And like in your head, you're like, hopefully they don't make eye contact. Let's not make eye contact so we don't have to say hello. Yeah? Tip of tongue phenomenon. I don't make eye contact either. All right, so when we're dealing with recall, we're also dealing with a thing called serial position effect. This should be on your thing, right?
It is.
Yes. On what, page 2?
Yeah.
All right, on page 2 of your study guide, you have serial position effect. It's a tendency of information at the beginning and the end of a body of information to be remembered more accurately than in the middle or the body of the information. Okay? You probably do this with, if I listed off a bunch of names, you'd remember the first couple names and you'd forget the last couple. Can we agree? It's kind of like your brain. When I think of serial position effect, I think of your brain like a glass and you're pouring water into it. It's going to hold the first little bit of water, then all the other water is just going to go away, correct? Not go away, but overflow, and it's not going to be retained. Serial position effect is you're going to remember the first couple things, but you're not going to remember anything else. Hello? Okay. Tomorrow I'll have a video clip for you for it. It's kind of like a little game thing if I have time. I'm pretty sure I'll have time for you guys. And we'll see how good is your serial position effect. Are you better than most, or are you terrible? Okay, and that's exactly what it is. So serial position effect is the remembering the first couple people. Like if you go to, like for instance, I went to a cocktail party 2 weeks ago for McCrae's company. I remember the first couple people I met. No idea any of the others. Could not come up with it even if I tried. But I remember Carl. And I remember Tom. Tom and Carl were the 2 people McCrae said I needed to know that they were important. And I did. No. I don't think I've ever used Carl in a reference before. Alright, and then you have primacy effect. Primacy effect, okay, is the tendency to remember information at the beginning of a body of information better than the information that follows. Have you ever played telephone?
Yeah.
Not telephone. What's the game where everyone sits in a circle and one person says...
And they go around and like the last person is to say everybody's name in order.
Yeah, is that telephone?
No, that's not telephone.
You whisper in someone's ear and then like you change it. Oh yeah, no, I don't want to play that game. That game gets really dark quickly. I'm saying we all sit in a circle and Sarah says apple. James, no, my man here says apple, right? You're my apple. There we go. Sarah says orange. He says apple. Tyrese says peanuts. Okay.
Chris says strawberries. Look like strawberry guy. Skylar says chocolate. Vanilla. You're a vanilla girl. Are you vanilla or chocolate? You're a chocolate girl? All right. So what would happen is, what is my girl Sarah? Okay, chocolate, because we had a conversation about definitely not vanilla. She was very adamant about that. Okay? So, when we're talking, if I went through the whole room, would you be able to do everyone?
Oh.
How many of you struggle? And be honest, because this is our memory unit, this is what I want. How many of you really, all of you, who, raise your hand, be honest, don't lie. No one's impressed by you lying to me. Who here remembered Sarah's? Raise your hand. Who here remembered James? We talked to, all right, we got a lot of people struggling already. Good. Who here remember Tyrese? The name. Who here remember my man Chris? All right, hands are falling off. Who here remember Scott? The reason you remember Scott is because we had a conversation about it. Okay? But if I just kept going and she disagreed without flinching at the idea of vanilla, we would have moved forward. Okay? Primacy effect means if I went through the whole class, most of you would remember this row and maybe a little bit of this row. All of you people would be forgotten. It's just like at graduation. No one cares about the person you're there for, and we love you, and we will care about you this year or next year. But in every other graduation in the history of time, everyone cares about the first row of kids. And then if you ask someone what part of the alphabet they're in, halfway through, they'll have no idea because they're not even listening to it. And then they'll care again when we get to the Z's. Okay? It's a primacy effect. We pay attention to the things we need to know at the beginning, and then we tune out. Just like at a lesson in class. Have you noticed you pay attention to the first part of the lesson, and then you don't recall anything at the end? Even though probably the most important stuff is at the middle. So probably not a good strategy, people. All right. And then recency effect. You tend to remember information at the end of information better than the information ahead of it. So primacy effect is you remember the things at the beginning. Recency effect is you remember things at the end. For instance, if I ask you about what show do you people watch?
The Walking Dead is now.
Grey's Anatomy.
I hate Walking
whoever
Dead.
said that.
Why do you hate Walking Dead?
It's awful.
I'm
It's
not
so
watching
good.
it anymore.
Scrubs.
Is anyone else watching it?
What's the point of bringing him back to kill him? I personally don't care,
Yeah,
but like it doesn't make any
I
sense.
cried.
Anyway,
Scrubs.
okay. None of these shows I watch. I don't even watch Walking Dead. I hate it.
Shameless?
Why?
Oh, no.
Shameless.
Ooh, it's a good show. You
Is
should
it
watch it.
Supermarket story you're talking about?
Wait,
Supermarket Store. Oh, Superstore.
it's about like these.
Yeah,
It's a family in Chicago, and like they're struggling
Okay.
hard.
Anyway. Okay, if I ask you,
I feel like she
if,
Friends.
let me finish. Okay, so if I looked back on all the content that we've covered this year, which we've covered a lot, I'm not sure. True. We've covered a lot. We've done a lot. You guys have been working very hard. If I ask you about content 2 weeks ago, would you probably remember it?
yeah.
That was so loud and so defiantly no. That hurts my feelings. But like, if I ask you about learning one, would you remember it?
Yeah.
No.
Eyeball.
I have to think
Wait,
like,
wait, is that the
Yeah.
classic?
I just don't see the name. Like I can't remember.
This is a terrible example. My heart is breaking.
Is that the classic?
Yes.
Ah,
Oh, yeah.
If you said something like that, I remember it, but I don't know it as learning one.
3,
Oh,
2,
let's go.
1. I'm never gonna reference my work ever again because I am so saddened by the response. Okay. What was Skylar's favorite thing?
Vanilla. Oh.
Strawberries, peanuts, apples,
oranges.
Damn it.
Bars.
I've taught you too well. I've taught you too well. Okay. So, who found it easier to remember Skylar and Chris rather than Sarah and James the first time around? All right. So your recency effect, which means it's easier for you to remember the last bit of information than the first. Who here, when they get a new phone number or hear a new phone number, they always get the last digits, but they have no idea what the beginning is? That's a recency effect. Who here is really good at the beginning stuff and then weak at the back? Okay, there you go. So that's a primacy effect. I'm done with you people. I will never ask you about my previous content again.
All right. So when we talk about serial position effect, it's talking about how these. We're either gonna, when you look at serial position effect, it takes both of these two components into place. You're gonna remember the things at the beginning. You're gonna remember the things at the end. The things in the middle are gonna start drifting off. You're not gonna remember them as clearly. That is serial position effect. To the boards, please. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is it called when I have to be in this classroom to teach AP Psych? Because if I'm not in this room, I'm so confused and I'm not as good as when I'm in this room. What is that called? Good. I got that. I got the abbreviations. Good. Macy. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is it called if you give me a list of items to go to the grocery store? I remember the first 3 items, but girl, I am not remembering the rest of those 6 other items. What is it called? If you give me a list to the grocery store, I remember the beginning. Good. Guys, I will see you tomorrow. That was primacy, by the way. Have a great day. 7th period, I still love you.